Welcome to History Captain, where we explore the lives of the most influential and powerful figures in history. Please remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. In this episode, we'll be talking about a man who, despite all troubles, stood his ground and later became the first African American naval pilot in the history of America. Follow along as we will take you on an exciting journey into the life of this extraordinary pilot and fighter. Ensign Jesse L. Brown was a man who was familiar with trouble as he was with his name. He was also a man who knew from a young age how to keep going even when things got hard. He was a target of racial slurs in the South in the early 1900s, but that didn't stop him from being determined. He took that determination with him through elementary school, high school, college, and finally his aviation training. He became a beloved wingman, pilot, husband, and father. Jesse Brown was born into a busy house of 8 to parents John and Lindsay Brown. Brown's parents put a lot of importance on school from the time he was young. He and his 5 siblings walked over 3 miles every day to their one-room schoolhouse. Brown eventually moved in with one of his aunts so he could go to a better high school. Even though the school was segregated, Brown got second place in his class and was named salutatorian. He then decided he wanted to go further by applying to a university to learn more. Brown's older brother went to an all-black college and many people told Brown he should do the same. But Brown had bigger plans. Brown got into the Ohio State University because one of his heroes, Jesse Owens, had gone there. Brown kept working while he was at the Ohio State University and overcame many problems while he was there. Brown used to do track and field and also wrestling at the university, but he had to stop doing both because he had to work more than one job to pay for the tuition. Even when Brown worked from 3:30 p.m. to midnight every day at a local railroad company and as a cleaner, his grade stayed in top tier. Brown was getting his degree in architectural engineering, but he hoped to get into the program for pilots. Even though he had good grades, the university turned him down more than once because of the color of his skin. Brown found out about an aviation program at Ohio State through the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps (NROTC) program. On July 8, 1946, Brown joined the Naval Reserves. From there, Brown went on to get a commission in the U.S. Navy, and he was one of only 14 black people out of 5,600 who had finished the program. Brown went into flight school where he expected to meet the same resistance he had met his whole life. He was happy to find out, though, that the other cadets in his aviation training were friendly. Brown married Daisy Nix in secret while he was in flight school in Pensacola, Florida, because men in flight school were not allowed to get married or they would be kicked out of the program. And in 1949, they had one daughter. Ensign Brown was sent to Fighter Squadron 32 on the USS Leyte 18 months after he finished his pilot training. There he did a lot of training exercises, and by the time the Korean War started, Brown had earned a lot of respect from his superiors and his wingmen. That meant the other pilots saw him as a good leader and a skilled pilot. When the Korean War started, the leaders of the campaign thought they needed more skilled pilots. That was when they called on Ensign Brown's ships, the Leyte. The Leyte sailed halfway around the world, and on October 8, 1950, it arrived in Korea. A lot of close air support missions were flown by Ensign Brown, and there was one time when 100,000 Chinese troops surrounded 15,000 American troops. Ensign Brown and the other pilots in the Leyte had to do a lot of close air support missions to stop the Chinese from getting ahead of the Americans. In one mission, Ensign Brown and the other pilots were once again asked to provide close air support. While the pilots were looking for the enemy, another pilot told them that Ensign Brown was running low on fuel. Most likely, this was caused by small arms fire from an enemy hiding in the snow. Ensign Brown tried to right his plane by dropping the external fuel tanks and rockets, but it didn't work. His plane crashed into the bowl-shaped valley near the top of a mountain, exploded on impact, and pinned Ensign Brown by his leg on the path of the plane. The other pilots were flying around above Ensign Brown to see what they could do to help him, but then they heard that an helicopter would try to save him. When his wingman, Lieutenant Junior Grade Thomas Ordner, saw that Ensign Brown was stuck, he crashed his plane on purpose on the mountain and ran to help his fallen wingman. At this point, a fire had started and was getting close to Ensign Brown's fuel tanks, putting both of them in danger. Ensign Brown started to fall in and out of sleep, and when Ordner realized he couldn't save Ensign Brown, he tried to put out the plane's fire with the snow that was around it. The rescue helicopter came, but after 45 minutes of trying to free Ensign Brown with an axe, they still couldn't. "Tell Daisy I love her," was the last thing he said. His bosses wouldn't let him go back to Ensign Brown's body because they were afraid of an ambush. They didn't want the plane or the body to fall into Chinese hands, so they bombed the crash site with napalm while the pilots said the Lord's Prayer over the radio. Ensign Brown was the first black man to die during the Korean War. The Distinguished Flying Cross, the Purple Hats, the Naval Aviator Badge, the Combat Action Ribbon, the Korean Service Medal, the Korean Presidential Unit Citation, the United Nations Korea Medal, the Korean War Service Medal, and the Air Medal were all given to him. The Navy put the Knox-class frigate USS Jesse L. Brown into service, among other things. Brown's death made a lot of other African Americans want to become pilots. This helped break down many racial barriers, showing that Brown's determination in his whole life have given many people hope and it will never be forgotten. At History Captain, we strive to provide our viewers with exciting and informative content about the world's greatest historical figures. We hope that you have found this video about Jesse L. Brown, the first African American naval pilot, both exciting and enlightening. To show support for our works, kindly click the subscribe button to watch more videos like this, and don't forget to like, comment, share with friends and family so they can be enlightened as well. Thanks for watching.